What's up, everybody? This is Gina Ifowe, the one and only African superstar. And today I want to ask you a very important question, which is, do you know who you are? And are you willing to find the answers? Earlier this week, on May 19th, we celebrated once again the birthday of the Malcolm X, the one and only Malcolm X. And I found this quote, which I put on my Instagram. And I think, just like many of the things that he said and forecasted, it's so relevant to today. So I'm going to read this, and then I want to kind of delve into it and break it down. He says, "When I say the Africans abroad and the Africans here in this country, the man that you call Negro is nothing but an African himself. Why some of them have been brainwashed into thinking that Africa is a place with no culture, no history, no contribution to civilization or science. So many of these Negroes, they take offense when they're identified with their homeland." And this is a quote from his speech, 20 million black people in a political, economic, and mental prison. And it is from January 23rd of 1963. The question I want to pose, obviously, to my audience is, do you know who you are? Quite frankly, if you're from the diaspora, you have generations outside of the continent, it's very possible that you may not know your origins and you may not have a lot of accessibility to your family's history and all of that. The second part to this question is the part where I am and where so many other pioneers and so many diasporan people have moved to, which is, are you willing to learn? You see, like Malcolm talked about in that quote, we are creating the differentiation between members of the diaspora, the Caribbean, Europeans, and continental Africans. And the reality is we are from the same seed. We may have experienced different cultures. We may be very disconnected from where we originated and all that stuff. But we have a lot more in common than we have not in common. There is a frustration and an ignorance that goes along with not being able to pinpoint your roots and lineage. It is a sore spot for many of our people. But inasmuch you may be in that situation, the next part of that question is the most critical and life-defining choice that you will make. Are you willing to find out what you don't know? Are you willing to investigate? Are you willing to change the course of your future, perhaps, with that information? What will you do with that information? You see, because in my opinion, our people have been thrust into this perpetual victim category. And, they keep just being the recipient of ill treatment instead of saying, wait a minute, I want to change this dynamic. Do you realize that, for instance, like myself, all right, I am the first in my immediate family to relocate back to the continent, okay, of generations of my family living out in the international community. What happens from this part, is contingent on what I do or don't do in my life. When I go on to have children, for instance, here in Ghana, they won't have that story of, I grew up in America, I grew up in UK, and not knowing who I am, not having access to the homeland, never seeing Africa. What so many of us, our story is, we immediately offset that chain of events in the future. That's what having the courage to begin the investigation will do for you. We as people have gotten caught up in the, I don't know, I've been held back, I haven't had access. We're very much in that vacuum, okay, of where our people have been. All right. But I want to encourage you to get on a new track of, will you find the answers? Will you investigate the answers? Will you have the courage and tenacity to strategically S&P your way to the future? So those were my thoughts and reflections as I see everybody, posting up quotes from Malcolm X and things like that. To me, it's quite sad that even at all these years later, we're seeing the same kind of behavior and actually worse from our people than what Malcolm X, the kind of things he was talking about. He